Ah-choo! Sneezes. They come out of nowhere, they're powerful, and they can turn a quiet room into a comedy show. But why do we sneeze in the first place? What's really happening inside our bodies when we let out that sudden blast of air? This is WhyOWhyTV, where we ask the questions everyone wonders and uncover the surprising science behind them. Ah-choo, it's a sound we all know. But what exactly is a sneeze? Far from being just a noisy interruption, a sneeze, technically known as sternutation, is one of our body's most ancient defense systems. It all begins with a tickle. The sensitive mucous membranes lining your nasal passages are on constant alert for unwelcome guests, like dust, pollen, pepper, or even microscopic viruses. These particles disrupt the delicate environment, triggering the first step in a remarkable biological chain reaction. Lining your nasal cavity are millions of sensitive nerve endings from the trigeminal nerve. When an irritant lands, these nerves fire off an urgent electrical message. This signal travels at incredible speed to a command center in the brainstem called the sneeze center, located in the medulla oblongata. This is the same part of your brain that manages automatic functions like breathing. The sneeze center processes the signal and decides if the threat warrants a full-blown expulsion. If the answer is yes, a perfectly coordinated sequence begins. First, you take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with air. Then your vocal cords and glottis snap shut, trapping that air. Simultaneously, your chest muscles contract, and your powerful diaphragm muscle pushes upward, dramatically increasing the pressure. And yes, your eyes instinctively squeeze shut. This isn't to prevent them from popping out, that's a myth. It's simply part of the same involuntary reflex signal from the brain. With the pressure at its peak, the glottis suddenly opens. All that compressed air is released in a violent, explosive burst. Your soft palate and uvula direct this gale force wind out of both your nose and mouth. This expulsion can travel at speeds up to 100 miles per hour, carrying a cloud of mucus and saliva. A single sneeze can launch as many as 100,000 tiny droplets into the air, which is why it's so important to cover your mouth. This sudden blast is a highly efficient cleaning mechanism. The sheer force of the air scours the nasal passages, physically ejecting the irritant. Once the intruder is gone, the nerve endings stop sending their alarm signals, and you often feel a sense of relief. This incredible reflex is your body's first line of defense, a built-in pressure washer designed to clear the airway and protect your delicate lungs from harm. It's an impressive feat of biological engineering. Sneezing is a reflex, which means you can't really stop it once it starts. Even if you try to hold it in, your body is already in motion. In fact, trying to stifle a sneeze can sometimes backfire, causing ear or sinus pressure. It's like hitting a row of dominoes. Once the first one tips, the rest are guaranteed to fall. The only safe option is to let it happen. Just cover it up to keep your friends safe. So what actually sets off a sneeze? The process is managed by a major nerve in your face called the trigeminal nerve. Think of it as the motion sensor for your nose. When common triggers like dust, dander, or pollen float into your nasal passages, they physically irritate the delicate nerve endings of this system. This sends an urgent message straight to your brainstem that essentially screams, "Intruder alert." The brain then initiates the sneeze reflex to forcibly eject the foreign particles. Other irritants work more chemically. Strong smells from smoke or perfume, or the capsaicin in pepper, don't just tickle these nerves, they directly stimulate them. This can also trigger the release of a chemical called histamine, the same compound involved in allergic reactions. Histamine increases blood flow and mucus production, making the area even more sensitive and telling your brain that an expulsion is definitely in order. And of course, your body uses this powerful reflex as a first line of defense against biological invaders. When viruses and bacteria that cause illnesses like the common cold begin to colonize your nasal lining, your immune system sounds the alarm. The resulting sneeze is a high-velocity explosion, a biological eviction notice designed to expel these pathogens before they can establish a foothold. But here's a stranger one. Bright light. For about 1 in 3 people, stepping into the sunlight triggers an unstoppable sneeze. This is a real, often inherited condition called the photic sneeze reflex. It even has a fitting, if slightly forced, acronym, Ah-choo syndrome. That stands for Autosomal Dominant Compelling Helio-Ophthalmic Outburst. This isn't a new discovery either. The ancient philosopher Aristotle pondered why the sun provoked sneezing over 2,000 years ago. Scientists still aren't entirely sure why, but the leading theory is a simple case of crossed wires. The optic nerve, which carries light signals from your eyes, and the trigeminal nerve, which senses irritation in your nose, run parallel and very close to each other. When your eyes are suddenly flooded with bright light, the optic nerve sends a massive electrical signal to the brain. It's believed this powerful signal can spill over and accidentally stimulate the neighboring trigeminal nerve. Your brain can't tell that the signal is a false alarm. It just knows the trigeminal nerve is firing. So it does what it's programmed to do: trigger a sneeze. Sneezes are more powerful than they look. A single sneeze can release tens of thousands of droplets filled with air, saliva, and sometimes germs, shooting out several feet. That's why colds spread so easily in schools, offices, or crowded buses. And while it's a myth that your heart stops when you sneeze, what really happens is a brief change in blood pressure that can make it feel like a skip. Don't worry, your heart keeps right on beating. So after all that, let's bring it all home. Why do we sneeze? It's our body's powerful built-in security system. Think of it as a high-pressure cleaning cycle for your respiratory tract. When irritants like dust, pollen, or pesky germs sneak past the first line of defense in your nose, your trigeminal nerve sounds the alarm. This signal zips to your brainstem, the command center for all our automatic functions, which then orchestrates a perfectly timed, explosive response. You take a deep breath, your vocal cords slam shut, pressure builds in your lungs, and then, ah-choo! A forceful blast of air, traveling at speeds up to 100 miles per hour, expels the intruders. And it's not just about dust. We've seen how everything from bright sunlight triggering a photic sneeze reflex to even a very full stomach can set off this chain reaction. It's a testament to how interconnected and sometimes quirky our bodies can be. This entire process is an involuntary reflex, meaning you have almost no conscious control over it. It's a reflex arc in action, a super fast neural highway that bypasses the thinking part of your brain to protect you instantly. That's why you can't just decide not to sneeze once the process has started. And speaking of things you can't control, it's nearly impossible to keep your eyes open when you sneeze. This is another reflex to protect your eyes from the high pressure and the spray of particles you're expelling. And let's bust a myth. Does your heart stop when you sneeze? Absolutely not. The intense pressure in your chest can momentarily alter your blood flow and heart rhythm, which might feel like a skipped beat, but your heart keeps on ticking. We hope this journey into the science of the sneeze has cleared the air for you. This has been WhyOWhyTV. If this video taught you something new, or maybe made you appreciate your body's incredible defense mechanisms, show us some love by hitting that like button. It really helps our channel grow, and we want to hear from you. What's the weirdest thing that triggers a sneeze for you? Is it plucking your eyebrows? A certain food? Share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to share this with a friend who's always sneezing, and subscribe so you never stop asking why. Now for a little taste of what's next. We've figured out why our nose launches a preemptive strike against irritants. But what about our eyes? Why do they start watering uncontrollably when we're just trying to chop an onion for dinner? If sneezing is the body's pepper spray, what's the deal with crying over vegetables? We'll be slicing into that mystery in our next video. See you then.